Hello out there, once again we are back. Marriage Without Tears is an awesome channel for married couples and engaged couples and even people who desire to make a success of their marriage. If that's your desire, there's a red button by my side, punch it, just click on it and get subscribed to this channel. What is the topic we are discussing today? It simply says cheating, or what do we call extramarital affairs, marital unfaithfulness, or what do we call infidelity. Cheating, infidelity, extramarital affairs, the 10 reasons why it happens. Have you ever taken a look at your spouse sitting by your side? Have you ever imagined that that man or that woman could be found in another person's arms? Or you may say to yourself, it cannot happen. No, I trust him, I trust her. I mean, don't play the ostrich game. I want you to listen to me. The reality is that the people that do it is not that they are bad or that they are wicked or that they are weak. I have seen it happen to very strong men and women out there. I have seen it happen to deep spiritual people. I have seen it happen to presidents of nations. I have seen it happen to icons of industries. I have seen it happen to ordinary men and women in the street. It's not that they go out there simply and they say, let me be involved in extramarital affairs. No, it's simply because they became vulnerable at certain times in their relationship, and therefore it happens. I'm not trying to hold brief for them, but the reality is that it can happen to anybody, and I don't want you to take your spouse for granted. Today we are discussing the 10 possible reasons why extramarital affairs can happen. Number one, I want you to listen to me carefully, because if you listen to the end of this particular edition, there is a special gift for you. Don't switch off. Listen number 1 to 10, and then give me your comment, and then you will have a very special gift at the end. What is number one? Number one, when the marriage has become full of conflicts and disagreements that are unresolvable. When a bad marriage have lingered on for too long, and it appears as if everything that has been done, everything that needs to be done has been done, and yet the couple are not finding meeting grounds. They are not trying to resolve their differences. Instead of resolving their differences, they are walking farther and farther and farther away from one another. It comes at a particular time that somehow they become vulnerable to other options around them. So I want you to take a look at your own relationship. If there be anything that is not going well in your relationship with your spouse, I want you to take out time, identify it and nip it in the bud. Because the more you allow it to happen, the more a gully develops between you two. And the more it becomes easy, the more any of the partners, it becomes susceptible for them to, they become vulnerable to other amorous advances from members of the opposite gender. So when a marriage has deteriorated for too long, it opens the whole thing wide for each of the partners to get linked up, involved with other partners outside of the relationship. That is the number one reason. The second reason why it may happen is long separations. I have seen couples separated for a very long time because of the nature of their work. Military guys who go on tour of duty for a very long time, and they are abroad for a very long time, and before you realize it, their spouses at home are getting hooked up with other people. You can also have situations where a civil servant is transferred to a very far city, and before you know it, instead of carrying his spouse and children along, he leaves them behind and then starts living in the other city alone. The moment they start living apart from one another for a very long time, they have opened the channel, or they have thrown the whole thing open for other people to get involved. It may take a little long time for them to remain faithful, but after some time, one or even either of the couple may be too weak to withstand the pressure. So when you stay apart for too long, it can give room for extramarital affairs. It can give room for the devil to come in and cripple the wheel of the marriage. As a matter of fact, a couple is not meant to stay apart for too long, except for reasons of prayer or sickness. They are not meant to stay apart for too long. And when it happens that way, what do you have? it becomes easier for other people to come into their marriage and take advantage. So a couple is not meant to stay apart for too long. So what do you do in this instance? Anytime you are going to a very far place and you discover that you are going to be there for a very long while, it is better you carry your spouse along. I am always very sad when I see people come from abroad and then they come and marry a local lady, and then they leave the lady behind and then travel back, hoping to come back in 1 year, in 2 years, in 3 years' time. You know what will happen? As time lingers, either you get involved where you are, or the lady switches on to other forms of another relationship outside of the marriage. So whatever it may take you, the moment you get married, take your spouse along as you go. That will nip that problem in the bud. That is the second reason why it may happen. The third reason why it may happen to anyone is when a couple becomes disinterested in one another. When they are now taking one another for granted, they are no longer paying attention to the needs, to the desires, to the dreams, to the visions of one another. Everyone is working at different purposes. Everyone is just doing his or her own thing. And you come back to the house anytime you like. You leave the house anytime you like. Nobody asks where you are going or what is happening. The couple suddenly become uninterested in one another. When it happens that way, you have given room for other people to come in and cripple the wheel of the marriage. The reality is that nature abhors vacuum. When you create that kind of vacuum, you have given every reason for the rodents out there to creep in and then take advantage. What do? You must keep your love account perpetually green as a couple. Keep your love account perpetually green. Be interested in one another's vocations, in one another's jobs, in one another's pastimes, in one another's hobbies. Be interested, be involved. The more you get involved, the more it becomes difficult for a crack to develop between you two. So that is the third reason when you become uninterested in one another. Someone out there will take interest on what you have forsaken. Someone out there will begin to admire what you no longer admire in your union. So that is what happens. That is the third reason why extramarital affairs can happen. Before I give you the fourth one, I want you to take a look at that red button by my side. Click on it. Get subscribed to this channel. Get subscribed to this particular edition. It will do you good. The reason why we are doing this is that you use it as a barometer to weigh the health of your own marriage and see the places where the roof is leaking, so that you can take proactive actions instead of reactive actions. It is very important. Wait for the fourth reason why extramarital affairs happen. Another reason why extramarital affairs do happen is what we call midlife crisis and the attendant low self-esteem. Anytime a couple is growing together, I understand one thing. After about 20 years of marriage, a lot of couples become uninterested in sex. They lose their sex appeal. They begin to look at one another as ordinary. The fervency, the joy is no longer there. Midlife crisis. It comes to a situation whereby the man or the woman begins to check him or herself whether I am still the same ravishing person, whether I still have what it takes to win the attention of another. Before you realize it, any kind of motivation from the member of the opposite gender out there can draw attention. So midlife crisis and trying to, uplift the self-esteem that has gone down. Anytime it appears as if your spouse is no longer interested in you, as if you are now, you are just one object around the corner. There is the tendency for you to try to, go out there and see whether you can prove yourself. Midlife crisis, it happens to people of both genders. Anytime we are discussing extramarital affairs or what we call cheating, some women will say, oh, it is a man's affair, or it's more prevalent in men. No, it is not. It's not. Because for every woman that is involved in it, there is a male partner. And for every man that is involved in it, there is a female partner. So it's an equal thing. It's both genders. So midlife crisis can open the door when you begin to, you begin to feel as if you have lost the flavor, and you need another person to affirm that flavor, that personality in you. You need someone out there. It appears as if your spouse is no longer saying it, is no longer admiring you, is no longer showing interest. Therefore, you need someone out there. I mean, it happens to people. So, midlife crisis. So what I'm going to say in that area also is that if you are getting old, please receive old age with joy. Receive it with joy. It is a great thing to be old. It is a great thing to have a white hair. It is a great thing to look elderly. It's a great thing. Many people have looked forward to attaining the height you have in terms of years, and they were not able to do so. So when you advance in years, receive it with joy. Old age is a time of wisdom. So don't feel depressed because you are getting old. Don't feel unsatisfied with yourself because you are getting old. So that is an area that can open the door to extramarital affairs. The fifth reason is what I term when the physical architecture is debased, it can lead to loss of appeal, sex appeal. I see couples, that look very trendy at the onset of the marriage, but after a couple of years, because they had money or because they had a lot to eat and drink, they no longer watched over their weights, and they are no longer interested in physical exercises, and they lost that trendiness, they lost that sex appeal. I have seen women bloat so much that you begin to wonder, is this the same woman I married who was looking ravishing, who was looking so beautiful when I married her? What happened over 5 to 10 years period? Is it just because of pregnancy? No, it is because the woman was downloading all manner of food into her system and never watched her weight, and she became bloated and lost it. I've seen women, their backside, their everything about them, their stomach, they have allowed everything to bust loose, and so the man is no longer so keen. The man is so before you know it, the man can stray outside trying to look or to identify the same kind of woman that has the same kind of physical nature that he used to admire. It can lead to extramarital affairs. It can lead to infidelity in marriage. It happens to both sides. You find men who somehow, because of so much food or drinks or all manner of beverage, they suddenly develop a bald head and a big beer tummy, and the woman is no longer so keen. The debasing of the physical architecture, it can lead to either spouse seeking for solace in the arms of other more ravishing people. So that is an area where we ought to watch closely. If you are watching this video, I want you to take cognizance of some foods you eat. Take cognizance of the need for physical exercise. Keep fit, keep looking trendy. You can do so. That you have so much money at your disposal does not mean that you have to eat all the food that you see. Keep doing it, keep working on yourself. Look good for your spouse. It is very, very important. And as you do so, you will see the results immediately. And what's the result? A more appealing physical appearance before your spouse, and then you will have that urge to stray out curtailed. Number seven reason why extramarital affairs happen is when there is a continual break in communication. When there is, poor communication becomes the order of the day in a family. When you can no longer communicate effectively with your spouse, when every language is coated with all manner of caustic remarks and abuse, when every time your spouse is fault-finding, nitpicking, nagging, it can lead the man or the woman to seek solace in the arms of someone who gives him or her peace. I must be very frank with you. Anytime you have a home that, where poor communication is the order of the day, it can be very, very terrible. To come back from a hard day's work and all you do is back orders at one another, quarrel incessantly, all you do is throw one useless remark or the other. You don't come together as a couple to look at the critical areas of your life as married couple, to look at how your marriage can become better and deliver the great visions you had at inception. All you do is back at one another. All you do is quarrel and never end quarrel. If it continues, I can tell you that if there be any slightest opportunity where either the man or woman finds someone who has the calmness and the peace of spirit to enjoy quality communication, there is no doubt that that person will be involved. It may not be. I have come to realize one thing. It's not that couples go out of their way and say, let me be involved in an amorous affair. No, it's because there is something in a human being, in our humanity, that seeks solace, that seeks a place of comfort and peace, that seeks harmony with our environment. Therefore, if the person you married is not giving you that, and you have tried over a long period of time, and you can't have it happen, or you both of you as partners cannot sit down to iron your differences and come out with more harmonious platform, there is the tendency for either of you to stray. You have opened yourselves up to an amorous affair, and it can happen to anybody. So that is the seventh one. And what is number 8? Number 8 simply says, when expectations are not met. There are all manner of expectations in marriage. As a matter of fact, one of the greatest expectations as a married couple, once you finish the wedding, is to start having a family. And when a marriage stays for too long, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and the children are not forthcoming, it takes a lot of spiritual maturity and depth. It takes a lot of wisdom and discipline for either couple not to stray outside the boundaries of their marriage. It becomes more terrible when either spouse castigates the other because of the challenge they are facing. I have seen a married woman tell her husband, I am not pregnant because you are shooting blanks. And what do you expect? The man somewhere along the line decided to try his hand on another woman outside to prove himself. In the place of trying, of course, the woman outside got pregnant, and your guess is as good as mine. Anytime that there are expectations that are not being met, it is necessary for the couple to sit back and look at proactive ways to attend to that situation. Sexual situations also are there. When you are married as a couple, you don't stray outside of the boundaries of your marriage. Therefore, you depend on your partner for adequate, fulfilling sexual intercourse. And I have seen situations where either the man or the woman is not giving enough. They give all manner of reasons. Oh, I am having a headache. Oh, I'm overworked. Oh, I don't have time. Oh, please, tomorrow, next night. And one reason after the other. And one of them grows more than the other. In the process of time, there is a tendency for the aggrieved spouse to begin to look outside for satisfaction. There are expectations of loving one another. When a couple fails to fulfill the demand or the expectations that are required in a marriage, there are bound to be, either of the partner becomes susceptible to amorous advances outside. So one of the things that actually causes extramarital affairs, or what we may call infidelity or cheating, is when the expectations in the marriage are not being met and nothing is being done to address those expectations. It can lead for either of the partners straying outside the boundaries of the marriage. Of course, what is the ninth one? The ninth one is when a partner uses an escape method, what I call an escape method, to avoid marital conflict. When you use an escape method to avoid marital conflict, there is a tendency for you to stray outside the boundaries of your marriage, knowingly or unknowingly. I will give an example. Alcoholism. I have seen people who get themselves drunk because they felt that their spouse at home is not fulfilling their demands or is not meeting up to a certain level of expectation. Instead of addressing the issue frontally, they decide to go to the beer parlor and spend a lot of time. And of course, you know what happens from being drunkenness to being in the arms of one prostitute or the other. And before you know it, a lot of damage is done. I have seen people get involved in drug addiction as a way of escaping some of the marital problems they were having. And you know one funny thing? I had a situation one day. I was interviewing a married couple. And the woman said to me, I am angry at my husband because he drinks and smokes a lot. I am angry. I don't care for him because he smokes and drinks a lot. And he doesn't want to give up. I turned to the husband and the husband said to me, oh, do you know why I smoke and drink a lot? Because of the troubles she's giving me at home. Anytime I drink and I smoke and I finish my drinking, I forget everything and I come home. I just forget everything. So it's neither here nor there. What you need to do as a couple when you are facing problems, don't use an escape method to avoid marital conflict. I have seen people who stay so long in their office doing their office job to the wee hours of the morning because they are afraid to come home and confront their spouse. And in the process of time, maybe a secretary that decided to spend that long hours with him or her, and before you know it, they have forgotten everything about work and they got involved in amorous relationships. So it happens like that. Don't use as an escape method to get out of it. Take that problem, look at it critically, and make up your mind to address it. If you do that, you'll be avoiding a lot of damage in your future. And number 10, I promised us that if you can get to number 10, that you will get a gift. Before I give you number 10, I will show you what that gift is. Just watch. Here in my hands is a book titled Marriage Without Tears for Adult Singles and Engaged Couples. It's written by my good self. And the reality is that today's adult single is tomorrow's married couple. And we decided to do something about it. Look at some of the things one need to do in order to understand marriage fully. So that before even you say I do to somebody out there, you must know the dramatic changes that will happen onto your life as a result of being married. Therefore, you need to know what to seek out for as you go in search of a credible spouse. You need to know the potholes to avoid. You need to know all the rudiments involved in getting a partner that will meet the vision for God in your marriage. And that is why we put up this book. You also need to know where to do the searching, because many people may think it's the church, but I differ a bit, because the church is a place where we all put our best foot forward. And you need to know this. When you get hold of this book, you will understand that fully. I'm making a copy of this book free to all my subscribers. Once you click that red button, you send me a mail to marriagecity@gmail.com, and then I will send you a soft copy. Online, this book is selling for $9.99 a copy, and you are going to get it free simply by being a part of this wonderful channel. Just click, send me a mail, and I will send you a copy. That is the gift I was promising you before the onset of this very particular edition. Now, that takes me to number 10. What is number 10? When we are talking about extramarital affairs, what gives rise to it? What makes it possible? Why does it happen on a regular basis, even to people that we seem to respect so much, we seem to hold highly? I mean, why does it happen in their lives? And I will give you number 10. Number 10 simply is because of lack of appreciation. Lack of appreciation. Anytime you find partners that are not appreciating the contributions of one another to the relationship, it gives rise to extramarital affairs. It can make the couple begin to look other ways for people who will appreciate and affirm them. You know, appreciation is very important in marriage. What do you think about a man who goes out there doing all kinds of things to earn a living, and then he comes back to the house and is not appreciated by his wife? The sacrifices he's making on a daily basis are not being appreciated. It appears as if anytime he comes home, instead of being welcomed with open arms and being greeted with a smile, the man is being inundated by all manner of naggings and all manner of things. I mean, lack of appreciation. What about a woman that is keeping the home, looking after the children, tidying up the home, cooking the meals and all that, and then the man comes home, you don't appreciate the contribution such a woman is making in your marriage and in your home? Do you know that the woman may not be bringing any money, But the prayer she's praying on a daily basis concerning you could be the reason why you are still alive. It could be the reason why you are saved from that sack in your workplace. It could be the reason why you could not be killed by an accident on the way. It could, her prayer contribution could be much. And you may also have a man who is not making enough, but somehow his presence in the home makes a lot of difference. Go and ask those who have lost their spouses, and they will tell you, if I can only have him just sitting there, I know I have a husband. Let me tell you, you must rise up and begin to appreciate one another. Appreciation motivates us to excellence. You need to appreciate one another. As a man in marriage, appreciate the loving care your wife is giving to make the marriage work, to make the family work smoothly. Appreciate her. Appreciate her. If you don't do, I would like to tell you that crowns are transferable. It is possible that there may be somebody out there, even within the vicinity, who is looking at that woman and who, for whatever reason, may begin to pique interest. And one word from that young man unto that woman could spell doom to your marriage. So appreciate her. Appreciate her. And you, the young woman that is in marriage, appreciate your husband. The sacrifices he's making, all the things he's doing to keep the family together. Mind you, outside there while he's at work, he meets all kinds of people, including wonderful, ravishing women, and he never takes his eyes onto them. Rather, he understands that there is a woman at home that deserves honor, that deserves his respect and joy. And because of that, he doesn't stray outside. So appreciate that. There are sacrifices that are being made on both sides. Learn to appreciate one another, because when you don't, it may spell doom to your marriage. I thank God for giving you the privilege to watch this very particular edition, from the first one to the 10th one. I want you to use them as a barometer to weigh the health of your relationship. Look in places where the roof is leaking and tidy up things, so that your man or your woman don't stray outside there looking for affirmations and attention. And as you do that, may the Lord our God bless you and bless your home and bless your marriage. See you next week.